For weeks, the hosts of The View dismissed and mocked Karoline Leavitt's $800 million lawsuit. They laughed at it on air, rolled their eyes, and acted as if it was just another conservative trying to gain attention. Whoopi Goldberg shrugged it off, claiming they had dealt with worse and that it would be forgotten in a week. Joy Behar scoffed, dismissing it as just another publicity stunt. Sunny Hostin, the show's legal analyst, assured viewers that the lawsuit was frivolous and would be thrown out immediately. The media echoed this stance, with CNN and MSNBC calling it a baseless attack on free speech. The message was clear. Karoline didn't have a chance. But behind the scenes, ABC executives and legal teams weren't so confident. While the hosts continued mocking the lawsuit publicly, ABC's legal department was conducting an in-depth review of Karoline's claims. What they found changed everything. The lawsuit wasn't just built on speculation. It had solid evidence, witness testimonies, and a clear case for defamation, workplace misconduct, and malicious intent. The realization sent shockwaves through ABC's headquarters. Executives held urgent meetings to assess the potential damage. If the lawsuit went to trial, private emails, behind-the-scenes conversations, and internal decisions could all be exposed. This wasn't just about The View anymore. ABC itself was at risk. As the legal team worked around the clock to find a way out, the hosts of The View remained unaware of how serious things were becoming. Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny continued to laugh off the lawsuit, making sarcastic remarks about Karoline on air. But the network executives were panicking. Top producers and legal advisors started discussing damage control options, with some pushing to fight the case head-on, while others urged a quiet settlement. The risk was too great to ignore, and as ABC debated its next move, the lawsuit gained more attention. When the hosts finally learned that ABC was considering a settlement, they were furious. Whoopi exploded in a closed-door meeting, yelling, "Are you kidding me? We're actually taking her seriously now." Joy Behar was just as enraged, slamming her makeup case down and ranting about how they had built the show and made the network millions, only to have ABC fold over what she called a stupid lawsuit. Sunny, usually the calmest among them, was visibly shaken. She had read the court documents and knew the lawsuit had merit. She also understood something the others didn't. If this case went to trial, they could all be personally dragged into it. The shift in tone came suddenly. After weeks of belittling Karoline, The View's hosts started changing their message. Whoopi sat on set and said, "I think we all need to take a step back here. There's been a lot of unnecessary hostility, and frankly, this isn't good for anyone." Joy, who had openly mocked Karoline, suddenly took a different approach. "I don't know why this has to go so far. Can't we just sit down like adults and talk this out?" And Sunny, the former prosecutor, directly addressed Karoline on air, saying, "Karoline, if you're watching, I think there's a way we can resolve this without dragging it through the courts. Maybe it's time we all come together and find some common ground." The sudden shift in their attitude was glaring, and social media wasn't buying it. Viewers immediately called them out, saying they had gone from mocking Karoline to begging her to stop. Conservative media ran with it. Fox News aired segments titled, "The View is panicking, and Karoline Leavitt has them on their knees." The Daily Wire pointed out their desperate attempts to backtrack. YouTubers and independent commentators analyzed their hypocrisy, breaking down how their shift wasn't about fairness. It was about survival. As the backlash intensified, ABC tried a new approach. First, they attempted to settle quietly. Reports surfaced that ABC executives had reached out to Karoline's legal team with a massive settlement offer in exchange for dropping the lawsuit and signing a strict non-disclosure agreement. The offer? Millions of dollars just to walk away. But Karoline wasn't interested. She had made it clear from the start that this lawsuit wasn't about money. It was about accountability. When the settlement failed, ABC turned to public relations. They released a carefully worded corporate statement. "At ABC, we take all concerns seriously and remain committed to fostering a respectful and inclusive workplace. We are reviewing recent developments and continue to engage in productive dialogue with all parties involved." But this generic statement did little to ease the situation. The media and the public tore it apart. Fox News dismissed it as damage control at its weakest. Breitbart called it empty words from a desperate network. The Daily Wire simply stated, ABC is terrified. Realizing their PR efforts weren't working, ABC turned to their allies in the mainstream media. CNN ran a segment suggesting that Karoline's lawsuit was politically motivated. MSNBC framed it as a conservative attack on The View. The Washington Post published an op-ed arguing that The View was being unfairly targeted. But it was too late. Viewers had seen the footage. They had watched Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny mock Karoline on air. They had heard their dismissive remarks. And now, suddenly, they were pretending they wanted peace. The internet wasn't buying it. Inside ABC, frustration was growing. Insiders leaked reports that executives were discussing whether The View was even worth keeping on air. Some believed the show had become more trouble than it was worth. The backlash, the lawsuits, the bad press. It was all adding up. For the first time in years, whispers of canceling The View entirely began circulating. As the chaos continued, Karoline stayed silent. For a full 24 hours, she didn't respond. No statements, no interviews, no social media posts. And the silence only made the situation worse for The View. Whoopi was reportedly furious, demanding answers from ABC's legal team. Joy was overwhelmed, ranted producers that it was unfair Karoline was taking things this far. Sunny, the most legally knowledgeable of the group, knew exactly what was happening. Karoline wasn't scrambling. She was in control. Then, finally, Karoline responded. But instead of a long statement or an emotional interview, she posted just 5 words. "I'm not backing down. See you in court." Those 5 words sent ABC into a full-blown meltdown. Conservative media exploded with support. Fox News ran a headline reading, "ABC's nightmare is just beginning." The Daily Wire reported, "Karoline is taking this to the finish line." Within hours, the internet was flooded with reactions, memes, and breakdowns of what this meant for The View. ABC executives were blindsided. They had assumed Karoline would settle, that she would negotiate, that she would back down. Instead, she shut them down completely. No drawn-out negotiations, no compromises, just a direct statement that she was moving forward with her lawsuit. Inside The View, the panic was real. This wasn't just a controversy anymore. It was a legal battle that could expose everything. Former guests, staff members, and insiders began speaking out, hinting at other instances of misconduct within the show. If this lawsuit went to trial, what else would come out? How many more secrets had ABC buried? For years, The View had operated without accountability. They could mock, belittle, and smear whoever they wanted. But now, for the first time, they were the ones under fire. And the worst part? The same woman they had tried to tear down was now the one who had them cornered. ABC had underestimated Karoline Leavitt, and now they had run out of options. As the lawsuit moves forward, the question remains, will The View survive this? Or is this the beginning of the end for one of daytime television's most controversial shows? One thing is clear. Karoline isn't backing down, and ABC isn't ready for what's coming next.